It's talking like it's live streaming up right now. Let me see. Let me see if it's live streaming right now. It's live streaming on Facebook. Let me see.
They have no idea who they're dealing with.
Okay, now it is. Oh, put it all real quick. Okay, now it is. Put it all real quick. Okay, now it is. Alright. Still don't like the sound. Let me try to fix the sound one time. You gonna kill my copyright. You gonna kill my copyright.
With the phone?
Yeah. You gonna kill my copyright. You gonna kill my copyright with that phone? Yeah. You gonna kill my copyright. You gonna kill my copyright. Alright, man. So I ain't gotta look at that. Alright, we're gonna try this out. First time streaming with look, I think like we might be on Facebook and Instagram. I mean not Instagram. But look like we are on, let me see if we're on Facebook. We're supposed to be on Facebook too. I'll see afterwards. We'll see afterwards. Alright. How you feeling this morning, brother?
Pretty good in yourself.
Hey man, this is the best day of my life, man. I don't know how I can get no better. For the people at home, man, you might well go and do your little dance while they still playing your song. Let's see what's going on in the world. Give me alright. Y'all excuse me at home. I'm just trying to make sure that my sound is right. Slow internet detected. We recommend that you lower the input quality and stream quality, stream duration. Okay. Let's see what's going on. Alright, so let me ask you this. What's one moment in your life that completely changed how you see the world?
I had an incident with my oldest son when he was about 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we was at the hospital. And while we was at the hospital, me and him walking down the hall. And I think my allergy was messing up on me. And I kept sneezing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I sneezed, he would sneeze, but I didn't notice it at first.
Yeah.
So then again, I had coughed. Then he coughed too. So one of the nurses came down the hall and she was talking to me, and I had posted up on the wall, like put my foot up on the wall, and I was talking to her. She started laughing. And I'm like, what's going on? And she said, your little man doing everything you doing. He mimicking everything you doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked down, he had his little self, I had his little foot up on the wall, posted up too. That right there gave me a whole outlook on life about the way I move.
Yeah.
I'm like, he watching everything I do. So I had to start moving differently.
Yeah, it ain't all about you.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes, I'm wondering if you agree, that sometimes when we have others to depend on, hold on, I just got a text. He said he got a, what? So I ain't trying to interrupt this, but I interviewed an officer who also left because of the corruption. Yes, I have a former deputy warden who also left because of the corruption that wants to do one with me too, but YouTube isn't letting me do a live myself. It may take 24 hours so for it to give me access since I just passed to subscribe to this lady. That's my man Tyler. Alright. When did you realize you needed to grow up mentally? Not just age and physically. And I asked that question because a lot of times when we are away, whether it be I don't want to say college. I say college. Anytime that you're in an institution, college, prison, Marines, sometimes I can speak towards prison. I can't speak to nothing else. But sometimes we grow up physically and maybe even mentally, but emotionally, we kind of be in the past a little bit.
When I grow up, mentally or emotionally?
When did you realize that you needed to grow up? Or was you already emotionally on point when you came home? I don't even want to say came home because I don't want to turn this to no prison conversation, but whenever you just did a self-check and it came to your knowledge.
I came home from prison like that, though.
Already on point?
Already on point for the simple fact I knew that people are going to try to do things to you to provoke you to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to already know not to let nobody trick me into going back to no prison anyway. So I was already on point about that.
Yeah. What's the first sign that you were becoming a better version of yourself?
When I started letting little things get me upset to the point I want to react on it. When I start reacting to things, that's when I knew I was really growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be like a ticking time bomb.
What you mean?
Like, always like, working jobs and stuff, I be ready to fight supervisors and stuff. Then I had to think about it like, okay, I can hit this man, go back to prison, but then who's going to take care of my kids?
Yeah.
So I had to start doing things different, start letting stuff, because the way people talk on the street was different from what I was used to in prison. Certain things you couldn't say to a man
mm-hmm.
without consequences. But then you get on the street, this is how people talk. It's normal to them, but it wasn't normal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to adapt to their
What
way.
you mean? Give me an example of how they...
In prison, like you couldn't call no man no fuck nigga, no bitch ass nigga in prison.
What about sassy? Because the females like to call men sassy.
See, that's another thing about all these new words these people bringing out, man. Like, everybody got their own way of not taking accountability for their things, so they throw it off by saying other things like the dude sassy. He's sassy because he didn't go for what you was throwing at him.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, then you sassy because you weren't going for their shenanigans.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff there.
Okay. What's one of the biggest misconception people have about you?
That I'm a nice guy.
What, they think you're a nice guy and you're not a nice guy?
Yeah, they think I'm a nice guy.
I think you're a nice guy, bro.
Yeah, I am to the people that's nice to me.
Yeah.
But some people try to get in that space and think they really want to challenge me because of my demeanor, the yes sir, and the calm nature.
Yeah.
They don't be realizing I'm really with all the shenanigans when it's time to be.
I'm gonna shift gears just a tad bit. Yeah, at the same time, that would be dope. What do you think about all these kids getting access to guns so easily right now? I say that because, like, in the state of Louisiana, they changed the law. They went down on the age. I think you can be 19 or something like that. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I think it's 19. So again, what do you think about all the kids getting access to guns so easily right now? Or has it always been easy?
It's always been easy to get a gun.
Yeah.
You might go to the hood and get a gun.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But America's structured that way because a certain group of people are scared. They scared. So in order for them to have their guns, they got to make the law where it can be easable access.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine if it got to the point where a lot of black people were shooting rich people or white people or sub-corporate people.
Mm-hmm.
The laws will change then. If black kids start shooting up schools like these white people doing,
Yeah.
the law will change automatically. It'll change overnight.
What you mean? Break that down a little bit.
Accountability. When white people shoot up school, it's always he got a mental problem. He was going through this and going through that. Let a couple of black school shootings happen. Oh, look at his background. He grew up in the hood. He had no dad. The whole narrative gonna change then. Then they'll crack down on him. But it always got to be that minority group that do some crazy stuff to make them really change law.
Okay. Why is there so much violence in the black community?
I say parenting, man. It's a lot of single women raising kids, and they treating these, especially boys, they treat them like they friends and stuff, like they boyfriends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they son selling dope and helping their mom out buying her what she wants, it's okay to her. But once he get in a position when something happened to him, all of a sudden, why you do my child like this?
Yeah.
But you knew your child was an asshole anyway. You already knew that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't want. You don't want. You can accept it, but you ain't gonna take public accountability for it. When you know your child was on the path of doing stupid stuff, you already knew that shit.
And that's primarily because they was raised. The parent was raised in a defunct environment.
It ain't even that. You see how social media kind of changed the structure on everything out here in the world now. When I grew up, it wasn't such thing as social media and cell phones and all that stuff.
Right.
But now everybody want to be a movie star. They want to get the likes for doing dumb shit.
So let me ask you this: what would you compare social media to? Wouldn't it be the news or music videos or
all that shit,
radio? Because people still was wanting to be something because of the images that they seen. You know what I mean?
No, when I grew up in my era, like I'm 50, so I grew up I was in the streets in the 80s.
I did though. I'm about 15 minutes behind you, buddy.
Yeah, like in the 80s and 90s, man, dudes liked to get away with dirt without being caught.
Yeah.
That was the thing. We weren't trying to get caught.
Yeah.
If we were selling dope, we didn't want our mom to know we were selling dope. We were robbed. We definitely didn't want our parents to know this shit.
Right.
But nowadays, these kids think it's cool because they see the people on the TV doing it.
That is true, bro. I just had two young ladies in one of my one of my journaling classes. I'm talking to them weekly, twice a day. They are mandated to come to my class because that's what their probation officers have mandated. And then I see them the other day, and they both got pajama pants on. They got their bonnets, and they usually are well dressed. I was like, "What? They was pajama day at school?" They was like, "Nah, we suspended." Y'all suspended for what? I forget the little terminology that they used, but they didn't jump on the girl because she was talking, and then the girl invited them to come to her house, and her daddy was with it, and one of the girls then beat the girl up in front of her daddy. So we're in an age where it is the thing to record the violence. It's a thing to record what's going on. I want to say I don't understand it, but if I'm born into this is what the norm is, I don't know how we fight it or how we deter it. Cause shit, my 11-year-old was born with a phone.
Yeah. But like I said, the law for everything, we recording everything we do, fighting and shooting, we recording all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as it's in the black community, they don't care. Step outside of that community, they're going to use that same video you were using to convict your ass with. But as long as you're doing it to your own people, they don't really care about all that.
How can we change that culture? How can we change that premise? Because that's going to be detrimental in the end. Well, it's detrimental now, but how do we change? How actively right now?
Now, but the only thing they get now is Facebook likes and Instagram likes.
Yeah.
But let law enforcement make it to where if you was easy to entrap them when they need them. When they want to get them, they already got access to get them.
Yeah.
Because they're going to let you keep doing it. Like, back in the day, that's how the Fed used to operate.
What you mean?
They let you sell all the dope you want to sell.
And just be collecting info.
Yeah, they let you do all the stuff you want to do, but when you get a certain tax bracket in it, where they can take that money and make something out of it, that's when they knock on the door. Because they're like, it ain't like no state job. When the feds knock on your door, pack your shit. You know it's a wrap.
That's right.
Because they ain't even coming in that they got everything they need.
They don't play around.
Yeah, so that's all them folk doing. Letting all this digital age, it's never erased anyway once it's on tape. It's never erased.
Yeah, those are facts.
It ain't never erased. So as soon as you get in trouble later on down the line, okay, the police shot you. The police shot you back. They shot you today.
Yeah.
Get shot now because look what you were doing all the time. So they basically just saving this evidence.
Yeah.
They cover their ass too. So that's why they allow it.
I'm gonna shift gears a little bit. I'm gonna shift gears because I just recently looked at a movie by Tariq Nasheed called Buck Breaking. And initially I had a perception on buck breaking where I know that they had these plantations where it was just used for breeding. They used to just breed us like cattle. And so then at some point in time, I also learned that's where the term motherfucker come from, because if it didn't matter, they would make the son have sex with the mother. Sometimes they would rape the husband, but they wouldn't just rape him. They would bring his family out and allow the family to see what was going on. And so then in this movie, they talk about, we detect that your local network is slow. We recommend that you lower the input quality. How can I lower the input quality, stream quality? I'm sorry, y'all, work with, because I'm trying to do this and I don't want to mess it up. But it's saying, Lord, we're going to keep it going, man, until it shut off. If it shut off, y'all, we're going to come back. I'll hold BJ hostage for some more. So then I started thinking about, like, we had famous people throughout years, bro. Like, I don't know if it was Langston Hughes or W.E. Du Bois. I think it was Langston Hughes, bro, where they castrated him. And that's why they have him on recording. His voice is high like a woman. But they had I guess some white people had him living in the house and they didn't want him to reproduce with their daughter. So they chopped him out, and they would do that. They would do that. And then I think about how the homosexual agenda is being pushed and has been pushed. And now I start looking at, sometimes you subconsciously, not blatantly, but subconsciously, you almost got to put down that masculine energy and put forth that feminine energy to be accepted. I look at politicians. I look at actors, male actors that'll put a dress on. I'm looking at, I look at the news, because all these are forms of, some form of training or propaganda. Do any of this sound familiar? Or do you have any take on any of this shit that I'm talking about?
I said, first of all, we got to get rid of quit going back into what happened in the past.
What you mean?
Everything that society go through now, especially with black people, they always try to revert back. It come from slavery, this and that. We always try to bring it back to all the way back in the day.
So just ignore it?
Yeah, ignore it, because half these kids don't even know nothing about no slavery. So you can't say that's where their mindset at. That's why they act this way. They don't know nothing about that stuff.
I'm not saying that. So you bring up a good point. So right now they don't really teach black history in school. You think it ought to stay that way?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
What's the point of black history? Why am I let you keep reminding me how you used to whoop my ass? And now I'm sitting back thinking about getting back at your ass.
Yeah, but see, that's the misconception, because that's not where black history starts. Where you go back to Mansa Musa, who was the richest man that ever lived. You go back to the Moors and people who created, they advised white people to stop letting chickens and cows live in the house with them. Like when it came to like creating environments and places to dwell and cleaning habits, bro, black people, people of color had some of the strongest influences, period. There was a guy who came up with martial arts, or I can't think of his name, but he would look at how the animals would interact with each other, bro, and came up with martial art. This was a brother of color. So I think that I understand if you think slavery is the beginning of our existence, but it's simply not. That form of Black history is some bullshit. I don't even like going to see slave movies no more, because you ain't doing nothing but restepping some bullshit and creating a fucked up complex. I don't even want to talk about, well, I do want to talk about slavery because it's necessary, but that ain't where we originated from.
But even if where we originated from, that's still, how many times you wake up in the day? Oh, I got to move this way because my ancestors moved this way because black folks have been to this. I ain't never woke up and thought about none of that shit.
I do it all the time, brother.
I don't do that. In real life, I be looking like, okay, I'm going to pay this bill. What I got to do for my kid today. I ain't worried about no ancestors.
I do, bro.
I ain't even worried about none
listen,
of that shit.
I had a young man who was a slight bit of an asshole last night, but I was like, bro, I'm for the people. I belong to the people. So I talked to him. I reduced myself so that we can get on the same page. And I gave him a ride home. You see what I'm saying? He was pissed off. He wasn't pissed off with me. He was pissed off because the people who was supposed to come pick him up wouldn't come pick him up.
Yeah.
Bro, I do a lot of things because I feel like my ancestors watching me. Of course, I got bills to pay, but at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I feel like when I go, I'm going to go for the people.
I'm not worried about the people. I just do things because...
You kind of do. You really be on some hardcore shit, but you really do. You really do care, bro.
No, I do what's right by people. See, I'm a real strong believer in doing right by people. That way, you don't need to cross me because of the way I'm handling my stuff. I'm being a straight up guy. So when you do cross me, don't feel why he overreacted. Don't feel like why I'm overreacting because you did this.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely treat people the way I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. Because I'm more scared of myself than anything. Because my fear of going back to prison with life without parole, mm-hmm. I think I would take things like way, way more further than the average person would. Yeah. Because of that fear. If I'm going back, it's going to be for a reason. So I move humbly. I try to be real passive with people. Yeah. Because I don't want them to make me mad. Because we go there, we going to go all, I ain't got nothing to lose now. Yeah. But I don't be worrying about I'm doing this good deed because my ancestors think, no, I ain't worried about none of that. I do this where you move out my way or be humble, be nice to me, don't be nice to you. I don't want no smoke, but I ain't scared of no smoke, basically. But don't nobody want to be caught up in no shenanigans because you got too many other things to worry about. Mm-hmm.
What's your take on grown adults arguing online like teenagers? It's so dramatic, bro.
That shit is wild.
It's so dramatic.
I never understood how folk be having beef online. Uh-huh. I don't even know how they be having beef in public. Like when you get a certain age and you got a family, you got a house, you got a job, you got a certain thing to lose. Mm-hmm. Certain things you're not going to do, man. It don't make sense to do it. Yeah. Like what I'm arguing with somebody online for. I ain't even finna argue with you in public. Yeah. As long as you ain't in reaching distance where you can hurt me, if I can hurt you, I'm walking off anyway.
We ain't talking about that. We're going on, champ. I sometimes think that some of the people that do some of the things that they're doing, they're not fully aware of the consequences. They don't know how real it could get when you be sitting behind that wall. Because if you did, you wouldn't be on this type of time.
Because don't nobody explain to them about everything they hear about prison and the stuff they see on TV. Right. It's folks, I don't talk to plenty of people on the street. They actually think in prison you sit in front of a parole board when you get out.
That's not how that goes.
But that's how the TV portrayed it, like you sitting in a room with 3 people at a table.
That's what the movie showed.
Yeah, if you don't even know who the
how it really go. How do it really go?
You just get a printout. That shit automatic.
A piece of paper.
The day you get sentenced in that courtroom and you go to prison, They type in their computer like a text message that you can get that deliver at a certain day and a certain time.
Yeah.
That's how your set off date be.
You ever came up? You ain't never had no parole date, have you?
Y'all had plenty of parole dates.
And you done got set off?
Yeah, I was set off before I went to prison. The day they sentenced me.
Yeah.
When I got to prison, I had got in some trouble. I thought I got in trouble in April. I don't know what year why I got in some trouble, cost some more time.
Yeah.
The counselor called me in the office with a predated sheet of paper. Don't you know you were finna go home in June? This paper already been printed out years before. It kick out a certain, just like a social security check.
Yeah.
It gonna come at a certain date and they gonna kick this print out.
Yeah.
I was already set off whether I was doing good or bad. I was already set off anyway. It was just a printout. Because if that was the case, you know how many people get out of prison and they knew that the counselor called me and like, look, you know you got a parole date this day here.
Yeah.
If you knew that and it really meant something and they told you that,
yeah,
you'll stay low key.
Yeah.
But everybody don't learn. It don't mean nothing. You set off the day you walk in there. They know how many years they gonna keep you. They already know this.
It is recording. So it's recording as it does that. Okay. So what's another misconception? Well, no, let me ask you this. So you say you got set off several times.
Yeah.
The first time you got set off, how old were you?
Let's see. 21. And the thing about when I got set off, I caught a free word charge then. After I caught the free word charge, the counselor said, well, you had a parole date for this day here. But you had denied, you had a parole date that day, but it was already denied.
What was that free word charge?
In the officer. In the alto.
I remember you hit a counselor. I know you kicked the counselor. I remember that.
Yeah, that was later on in life, but the first time I came, I had a parole date. It was already set up before I even came up.
What officer you hit? That's the one you hit with a tray? Or what that was?
No, I had kicked the desk in this chair. And then they were trying to put me in like a hog tie. Like trying to hold me down.
How did this pop off? Where you was at?
In Alto.
No, I'm saying where at Alto? What was the situation?
Dom 13, a little riot, a little down south Atlanta, a little beef had going on.
Yeah.
And that ain't had nothing to do with it. Just everybody up there got in trouble about it.
Yeah.
And I was the one I was going to the hole. And while I was walking to go to the hole, the police behind me like clipping me, trying to trip me up and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got mad at them. Yeah, and I turned around and tried to rush him.
Yeah.
And they hog tied my ass up in that motherfucker. And the thing about back then, like stereotypes. Average black person, we think a white person can't really beat us physically. No, that's a stereotype. We think, oh, ain't no in the head a white boy gonna whoop my ass.
Yeah.
In prison, you think different. All that about you ain't gonna say yes, sir, and what you ain't gonna do.
Yeah.
Them white folk will beat your motherfucking ass, and you be like, yes, sir, captain, around that motherfucker.
Right.
So I learned my lesson there. That parole shit, that's a myth.
All right, but how you end up hitting the officer?
When I rushed him, they were trying to hold me down on the ground and shit. And my partner goddamn hit the police with a chair, so both of us got in trouble. He didn't get the charge, took the charge. Yeah. And then when I went to DR court, the same officer I hit, he was a CO2 then. When I hit him, they turned him to a CO. They turned him to a sergeant. Yeah. So now he over DR court. So I ain't get in trouble for rushing him because I ain't really do nothing physically to him but rushing. But when I went to DR court, when he found me guilty, I kicked the desk in his chest and I jumped over the desk.
Okay, yeah, I do know you telling me about that. Still gonna stop it though. Y'all, I'm gonna log off. We'll be back later on. Stop that. That's slow and detected. Okay, damn. Stop that. Start recording. Okay, so it's recording and it's quality location. Let me see if I can change the quality. So I go up to 360 and see what that do. Because that's what it's telling me. Lord, my shit. Alright, so that was live.
So I go up to 360 and see what that.
It's still recording.
You are thinking I'll stay with?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
What's the point of like